All right, so let's look at how to connect using a VPN when you're on HackTheBox or even just in general. If you're going to be pen testing or ethical hacking, you need to understand what a VPN is. So, a VPN is a virtual private network, and this allows us to connect to a private internal network and access hosts and resources as if we were directly connected to a private network. So it's a secure communication channel over a shared public network to connect to a private network. So, for example, an employee can remotely connect to their company's corporate network from their home, and it's all secure. So that's it would be very bad if you could just connect to your home network and then just log into your company organization's network or their websites and stuff and do your work that way. Be very unsecure. So VPNs provide a degree of privacy and security by encrypting communications over the channel to prevent eavesdropping and access to the data that's going all around. So here's a cool little graph. So you have the remote user that connects to the internet, and then it goes through a virtual firewall, which then the data is even more sifted through the VPN server, and then you can connect to the corporate on-site network and reach the corporate servers or also reach your corporate desktop. So this is the most secure way to operate when you're doing private work at home. So at a high level, VPN works by routing our connection's device internet connection through the target's VPN private server instead of going straight through our internet service provider like Comcast or Xfinity. So when connected to a VPN, data originates from the VPN server rather than our computer, and it will appear to originate from a public IP address rather than our own private address. So in layman terms and simple terms, it pretty much masks your IP address. So any data you're sending out, if someone was to see what IP address that's coming from, it's not linked to you at all. So there's two main types of remote access VPNs. We have client-based VPN and SSL VPN. SSL VPN uses a web browser as the VPN client. The connection is established between the browser and the SSL VPN gateway and can be configured to access web-based applications such as email and internet. So client-based VPN requires the use of client software to establish that VPN connection. So once connected, the user's host will work mostly as if it were connected directly to this company network and will be able to access any of their resources. So why would you use a VPN? So I'll have a whole bunch of VPNs that I would suggest down below, or you could reach out to me for any VPN you think you should get. But why would you use something like NordVPN or Proton VPN, which has become pretty popular, and connect to a VPN server in another part of our country or another region of the world to obscure our browsing traffic? But this is helpful if you just want to stay completely private, especially in today. There's a lot of trackers on the websites you view, and a lot of these are for marketing and sales reasons. So even your IP address, your geolocation is being sold and bought, and also attackers, as we see, can easily get a lot of this information, and especially if they get your IP address, it gives them that much more access to getting into your network. So this can provide us with some level of security and privacy. But still, since we are connecting to a company server, there's always the chance that the data is being logged or the VPN service is not following security best practices or the security features that they advertise. So using a VPN service comes with the risk that the provider is not doing what they're saying they're doing with all our data. So the usage, to be honest, does not guarantee complete privacy, but it's useful for bypassing certain network or firewall restrictions. So there are ways as well, especially when you get more advanced, setting up your home lab to set up your own VPN server on your own network. And then whenever you're anywhere in the world, you can always connect into that local VPN and then have your data sent out with a public IP address. That is the professional way to do it. But because of the commodification and the cheap price of a lot of these VPNs, especially it's much easier to use Proton VPN, for example. You see a lot more people going to that instead of hosting a 24/7 VPN server at home. So when you're connecting to these virtual boxes, you're going to connect to the HackTheBox VPN. So HackTheBox and other services offering vulnerable VMs require players to connect to the target network with a VPN to access these private labs. So hosts within the HTB networks cannot connect directly out to the internet. When connected to the HackTheBox VPN for any labs, we should always consider the network to be hostile. We should only connect from a virtual machine, disallow password authentication if enabled on our attacking VM, lock down any web servers, and not leave any sensitive information on our attack VM. For example, do not play HackTheBox or other vulnerable networks with the same virtual machine that we use to perform client assessments. So that's pretty obvious, but just be safe even when using these HackTheBoxes. They're just testing environments. Don't go and try and browse the web. You can't access the internet. Don't try and put files on there that are yours. Pretty obvious stuff. So if we want to connect to a VPN, we could use this following command. An OpenVPN is an open source VPN application. And it's using user.ovpn. And that's a custom VPN file from HackTheBox. So sudo is the command you're going to use to enable super user. And then they just go through here as you're going through this on your own terms, how to check various different things. So if we type ifconfig, we'll see that there's a tunnel adapter, and we've successfully connected to the VPN. And then other ways to make sure you're successfully connected. So if you have any other issues, I'd highly recommend checking Introduction to Lab Access and Connection Troubleshooting. I do know some people have some issues setting up the box, and it's very important moving forward that you can safely and easily connect to the VPNs if needed, and also just open up your virtual lab. So yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. But this has just been a great overview of what is a VPN and how to connect to it and how we will use it as well in HackTheBox. See you in the next lesson.